Coming up on Juice and Java, we have this week's top stories, including the death of former President George H.W. Bush and the latest on the G20 summit.
Plus, morning correspondent Lilia talks about NASA's recent landing on Mars.
Correspondent Landon Wexler is also live from the Peace Festival taking place at Nottingham High School.
All that and more coming up. Juice and Java starts right now. Your morning with us. I'm Zach Allen.
And I'm Morgan Trau. Let's kick things off with the Morning Brew, the top stories from this week that you need to know.
Former President George H.W. Bush died last night at the age of 94. He was the 41st President of the United States.
President Trump is firing back after Michael Cohen pled guilty to lying to Congress about his relations with Russia. This comes as Robert Mueller's investigation into the 2016 election heats up.
He's a weak person, and what he's trying to do is get a reduced sentence. So he's lying about a project that everybody knew about.
Democrats voted to nominate Nancy Pelosi to be the next Speaker of the House. She'll need to secure a majority when the full House votes on January 3rd.
Focus is, are there dissenters? Yes, but I expect to have a powerful vote as we go forward.
Over to the Senate, where members of both sides are looking to enact a bill that would cut support for Saudi Arabia. Members are fighting back against the way the president has handled the death of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
A data breach at the Marriott hotel chain has affected almost 500 million guests. The breach included credit card and passport numbers in addition to mailing addresses. And on campus, the Syracuse men's basketball team will be taking on the Cornell Big Red tonight. It'll be a family affair as Buddy and Jimmy Boeheim battle on the court, while their dad, Coach Boeheim, leads the Orange.
Buddy hasn't made any shots. He will. Jimmy's been playing real good, and it's a tough game. It's an emotional game. It is what it is. Just got to get ready.
This has been your Morning Brew.
And now let's delve deeper into some of this week's top stories with the Squeeze. George H.W. Bush, 41st President of the United States, has died at the age of 94. His office announced last night that he died at 10:10 p.m. in his Houston home. Bush was a decorated World War II veteran and was the first president since Martin Van Buren to have served as vice president. During his term, George H.W. Bush led the country through the collapse of the Soviet Union and dramatically changed the United States' relationship with the Middle East. He also inspired a political dynasty, his son George W. Bush becoming the country's 43rd president, and Donald Trump has declared December 5th as a national day of mourning and will be attending the state funeral.
You know, George H.W. Bush, he was the longest living U.S. president and one of the longest living vice presidents as well. And actually, just a day after his wife Barbara Bush died, he ended up in the hospital with a blood infection that later led to sepsis.
It's crazy how that works between older couples, and he actually had a daughter that was 3 years old that died with leukemia, and so there was a great political cartoon this morning that showed George H.W. Bush flying up into the sky and reuniting with his wife and daughter. It was sweet.
The annual G20 meeting is underway. Late Thursday night, Trump arrived in Buenos Aires for the two-day G20 summit. Early Friday morning, Trump had breakfast with Argentine President Mauricio Macri, where they discussed trade and military purchases. A big aspect of the trip was the signing ceremony for the rebranded NAFTA free trade deal between the United States, Mexico, and Canada held Friday morning. Despite standing alongside Trump when signing the deal, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau still pushed Trump to remove the steel and aluminum tariffs. However, the most important meeting of the summit is his dinner tonight with the Chinese president, where trade is on the menu. And actually, Trump just canceled one of his press briefings this afternoon because he wants to give time for mourning for George H.W. Bush and his family.
Which is great, but as far as us citizens go, we kind of needed that press conference. Most G20 meetings in the past, they've already had their deals basically worked out before they even showed up, but last night the delegates stayed pretty late to try and figure something out, so that press conference would have given us a better idea of what's going on in there. And a video released this week shows Chris Watts, the man convicted of killing his 2 children and pregnant wife, confessing to his father about killing his wife. In August, Shannon Watts and the couple's 3 and 4 years old daughters were reported missing. Watts at first denied involvement, but later confessed to killing his wife after he watched her smother their 2 daughters to death. However, prosecutors claim that he killed all of them. He was sentenced earlier this month after pleading guilty to 5 life sentences with no possibility of parole.
A devastating story, really. And there's actually footage that has recently come out of him loading up his truck the day after it happened. And it turns out that what he was putting into his truck were his family members. He ended up putting his 2 daughters in an oil tank and his wife in a shallow grave.
He showed up to work the next day, and his coworkers said he seemed totally fine, but just a devastating story coming out of Colorado. And you know, it's a tough time for them, and I hate seeing stories like these coming out.
All of our condolences to them. And on a lighter note, Christian Sirianni, Jimmy Choo, and Payless, the discount shoe store, conducted a social experiment and marketing campaign by setting up a fake upscale retail space called Paylessy. The company put their own $20 to $40 shoes in the store but gave them $100 price tags. Payless invited influencers to the grand opening of the store and recorded their opinions of the expensive designer shoes. The ruse worked, with the most expensive items selling for $640. Payless says they are refunding all the purchases and offering the buyers free shoes. The company's CMO says the goal was to remind people that fashion can still be affordable.
Does this make you angry? I know you're a shopaholic. I mean, honestly, I'm sure this happens all the time in every other store.
You know, I think that this is actually quite clever and creative in a way to say that, you know, obviously, like, brands are important to some people, but things can be just as good without that name and without having to spend, you know, a whole paycheck on something.
I agree, but it makes me mad because I feel like now, especially when I go into a store and I feel like I'm getting a great deal with 50% off, they're still making a profit off me. So when I'm paying full price, I'm getting even worse of a deal. But I think going with Paylessy was an interesting idea.
It's definitely very close
French.
to the name. French, Italian? I don't know. I like it though.
Southwest Airlines is under fire after a gate agent made fun of a child's name. The child's mom posted a video online talking about her experience. Absidy, spelled A-B-C-D-E, was boarding a flight out of John Wayne Airport in California when her mother noticed a Southwest employee take a picture of her boarding pass. According to the mother, the employee was laughing and gesturing to other staff. A spokesman for the airline apologized to the family, saying the company takes great pride in their hospitality for all of their customers. And while you might think the name is unusual, Vocative, a media data company, found that between the 1990 and 2014 alone, 328 babies were named A, B, C, D, E in the United States. What is wrong with our society?
You know, I think that if you want to name your kid something that is more unique and it is maybe something that you made up, like, you should be allowed to.
Where does the line stop, though? I mean, these are just letters. I mean, I guess every name is kind of just letters if you think about it. But don't think about it like that. I mean, how do you name your kid A, B, C, D, E and not foresee that they're gonna get made fun of? I mean, that's brutal. I know that other names like Zach or Morgan are maybe a little bit cliche. You probably know somebody named Zach and Morgan. But these are normal names, and I mean, is ABCDE a family name? Is that why they're doing it?
You know, I have no idea, but the name was super popular before the 2008 recession, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but nobody should be made fun of when they're trying to go on a flight.
People never fail to surprise me. And if you're looking for something fun to do on this snowy Saturday and are in need of some crafty inspiration, the Plowshare's Crafts Fair and Peace Festival is going on at the local Nottingham High School. Our Juice and Java correspondent Landon Wexler is live there right now. Landon, how's it looking over there? Is it more crafty or more peaceful?
We're about to go on camera. How's it going, guys? Thank you so much. So right now we're at the Plowshare Crafts Fair and Peace Festival. It's an annual event every year at the Nottingham High School. This has been going on since 10 a.m. this morning. Super exciting. There's a little music event. It was the Salt City Ukulele. The atmosphere was incredible. Around here we have a lot of cool people. We have friendliest people I've ever seen. They have crafts, bowls, handmade mugs, and they're in about 20 minutes. We have another performer coming on, and not to mention we have. All right. So besides that, I just spoke to the MC of the event. His name is Mark Zing, and Mark told me he's been emceeing this event for about 5 years, and he tells us why he loves coming here every year and what this Plowshare Festival means to him. All right. This is Landon.
Coming up
Thank you
after
so
the
much.
break, we have Talking Points host Shama and Gilat Melamed in studio to break down why Ukraine is now under martial law. Keep it here.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Wait. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where do cats go on vacation? New York.
The relationship between Russia and Ukraine is at its most tense in years. On Sunday, Russia seized 3 Ukrainian gunboats, injuring between 3 and 6 sailors in the Sea of Azov, which is shared by the two countries. The response has been swift. Ukraine declared martial law across the country to be able to respond to the incident.
Yesterday, they announced that no Russian men aged 16 to 60 would be allowed to enter Ukraine, except for humanitarian reasons. As for the United States' reaction, President Trump has canceled his planned meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the G20 summit this week.
And now we welcome on Shama and Gilat. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So, guys, what is martial law?
Yeah, so martial law right now, Ukraine's going to be under martial law for 30 days. What this means is that there's really just heightened security from the government. There's going to be a lot more security at borders with Russia and Moldova. There's going to be, increased ability of what the government can do, more restrictions on who can protest, possible restrictions on the media, all in the interest of national security.
It's interesting to see with this martial law, it didn't go as far as President Poroshenko wanted. It's only going to be 30 days. He originally asked for 60 days, and many are seeing it as a political move to kind of delay the presidential elections that he's lagging behind in. So it's kind of never stopped to take advantage of a good crisis.
So I know there's a new house class that's actually going to Ukraine, and you guys are going to be a part of it. What does this mean for your trip?
Yeah, well, we're going to be in Kiev for most of our trip. So the important thing to know about martial law is it's not the whole country. It's just 10 oblasts, which are kind of like states in the United States around the border. So we're not going to be in that section affected, but definitely Dean Branham and our professor Cheryl Reed are, have us under tighter security for safety reasons.
Yeah, the schedule kind of got tightened a little bit, and we're really in Kiev. If we're in danger in Kiev, things have gone very wrong. So we're not too worried, but the school is a little shaky.
And so, since you said you're not that worried, but are you excited? Are you more nervous than you thought you would be?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm sure Elijah is too. It's an excellent opportunity that the school has provided us with to do some reporting, and again, not as nervous because Kiev is the capital city, it's the main city, and it's not part of that martial law.
Yeah, just building off that, it's going to be an incredible opportunity, an incredible piece of journalism that we'll all be able to work on, and just a fun time. Get to see a place that I don't think either
I've
of
never
us
been
ever-
to.
Yeah, we've never been to or thought we'd go to.
Yeah.
Well, you guys
definitely.
seem to have the right mindset. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Thank you.
guys.
Good luck on your trip. And coming up after this quick break, morning correspondent Lilia Wood tells us about NASA's recent landing on Mars.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Welcome back to Juice and Java. You may have heard about NASA's spacecraft successfully landing on Mars earlier this week. Our morning correspondent Lilia Wood is here with all the details on history-making expedition.
Thanks, guys. We may have thought about traveling back home for Thanksgiving was a hassle, but what about a journey lasting almost 7 months? That's exactly how long NASA's InSight lander took to safely touch down on the surface of Mars. The goal of this probe that took off on May 5th is to explore the interior of Mars. In order to do so, the spacecraft had to land somewhere flat to complete tasks like dropping 16 feet deep into the planet to take its temperature. NASA describes the terrain as something similar to a stadium parking lot. The probe will stay on the red planet for about 2 years. And as for humans, NASA administrators said that the US probably will not land a human on Mars until the mid-2030s. Anyhow, the anxious NASA team in California cheered on every successful step of this 205-day journey.
The culmination of all that time and having everything go right and all the work that's gone into it, all the testing, and to know just how precarious it really is and how big of a challenge it is and how the team just made it look so easy. But to watch it unfold like that is just, it's mind-bending.
But the NASA team were not the only people watching. NASA streamed it live on NASA TV, and there were many public viewing parties around the world. Hundreds crowded around a large screen in Times Square to watch the landing in the pouring rain, while others chose to stay dry indoors and watch at the Museum of Natural History in New York City.
In the coming months and years even, the history books will be rewritten about the interior of Mars. I personally have to say the first day, the landing day, and these first couple of pictures of a place no human has ever seen before also remind us that in order to do science, we have to be bold and we have to be explorers.
The reaction from NASA engineers celebrating was absolutely priceless, and one cheer actually went viral. 2 employees completed an intense handshake, much like how the NFL players celebrate when they get a touchdown. Take a look. Okay, guys, so this might seem a little complex, but I'm going to try to teach one of you. Who's down?
I'm so down.
Okay, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, so we're going to go back and forth like 4 times. Bring it in.
Okay. Okay.
And then we're going to go this way, like knock, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
And then you
but I
dance.
think Okay. Okay.
Should we try a little faster?
Yeah, let's do it.
Ready? 1, 2, I'm scared.
Boom, 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 boom. Hey, hey, hey.
Morgan's like, what are you doing?
You know what? I love it. Maybe we got to work on some dance lessons,
Okay,
but
we'll work on it.
I've learned all my dancing from Fortnite, so that's on
where
me.
that came
That's
from?
on me. It's okay. But thank you so much for being here, Lilia. Love it. And on the other side of 90 seconds, weather correspondent Sunny Balkin is in studio to tell us about the record-setting snowfall. Keep it here.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. You're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. So wet.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back. Yesterday morning, a 7-magnitude earthquake rocked Anchorage, Alaska.
The quake was centered about 7 miles north of the city and was even picked up on seismometers in Boston. Weather correspondent Sunny Balkin has further details.
Yes, that's right. As you can see in the image happening right now, this is happening at the airport in Anchorage, Alaska. Now, these are people running as sirens are wailing, and these are just some of the anxiety-inducing moments filmed by the citizens affected by the earthquake. Now, guys, if you look behind me, this was about at 2 p.m. yesterday. Now, the earthquake hit at about 8:30. Pretty intense stuff. This is all of the aftershocks. It's going into Canada, some parts of Washington and Oregon, and at the same time, you see that they're having their natural weather patterns with rain and snow. On to the next slide. Now, this is a bit more happy news. It's going to show you, look at all that. It's cleared. It's better. It's all centered right now in Anchorage, Alaska. That's where most of the aftershocks are going to be taking place. It's cleared up around the country. Now, on to the next slide. Some more good news. This again was about 2 p.m. yesterday. High waves going up to 50. They had a tsunami warning. But if you take a look at today, on the next slide, you'll see that it has gone down even more. Normal weather patterns for them, some snow, some rain, but good waves. Not surfing attire, but you know, good waves. On to the next slide. You guys will be able to see that this is actually very common for Anchorage, Alaska. Nothing crazy, nothing they haven't expected before, but it normally happens closer, not to the shore, but farther out to the coast of America. This is a converging tectonic plate. Now, you see, when it converges, the very thin oceanic crust will go beneath the continental crust, and pretty much this causes an earthquake or volcanic activity, depending where you are. Now, on to the next slide. You'll see a little bit of the effect that this is going to leave. According to the USGS, or the United States Geographical Survey, pretty much there's 78% chance of a 5-point magnitude aftershock happening within the next week, going into the next year. That means that they could be feeling aftershocks within 365 days of the earthquake happening, but they are expecting this. They know about that converging tectonic plate. Now, there's a 35% chance that damages will cost between $100 million and $1 billion. Now, take a look at some of this road damage that's been showing up all over Alaska, throughout Anchorage. All those cracks and creeks is going to take a lot of money to repair, but it's not all bad news. Alaskan Governor Bill Walker has issued a disaster declaration. It doesn't sound great in the moment, but as we come back, you can see that this area right around here is going to be approved by President Donald Trump. They're going to get some funding. They're going to be able to save themselves a little bit. But Anchorage isn't the only person who's having pretty extreme weather. Take a look at these images of the record-setting snow that made up Syracuse this November. Guys, come on, we all walked it. That's Santa. We love Santa. Santa doesn't mind it. So as you can see, this is today's weather. 31 degrees, chilly, low sun coverage, no snow. Let me bring you guys into the next slide. So as you guys will be able to see that it was intense this November. Coldest November in 85 years. Coldest Syracuse November day on record. That was November 23rd, Black Friday. And pretty much all that intense snow is going to go away. Within the winter, we're going to see a lot less of that. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Sunny.
I was about to say maybe the positive news out of there was going to be some great surfing, but unfortunately that was not the case.
No, I don't think so, but we'll tell you about some other crazy stories other than what Zach has to say that you might have missed this week. Stay with us.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid. A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close. I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us. But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words. These are not my words. These are not my words.
It's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
Welcome back to Juice and Java. We've been discussing some crazy stories throughout the week on many of our past episodes, and today is no different.
Absolutely, and this one is particularly inspiring. This viral sports moment shows why you should never give up, even in table tennis. During a match at a club in Norway, 15-year-old Chris Chen fell to the ground after a fast-paced shot, but he then made a surprising save that the Table Tennis Daily is calling the best shot in 2018. Although Chen lost to the point to his opponent, the video has been watched hundreds of thousands of times.
You know, this dedication, this go-getter attitude, you know, I couldn't do it. I am so terribly unathletic, but to see him lying on the floor and being able to hit that, that's amazing.
I think it's incredible, and I'm surprised it's not a meme yet. I mean, just giving up, just putting up the paddle, hoping for the best, and it works. I mean, honestly, that's kind of me in ping pong. I'm pretty brutal. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I am awful, but I mean, it's me during finals. You know what? I'm putting up my best shot. We don't know how it's going to go, but we're hoping for the best. And moving on to our next video, Burger King is now offering free food for your four-legged friends. For a limited time, the fast food chain is giving away free flame-grilled dog bones called Dog Bones to anyone who buys a Whopper. The treat is dog-friendly and supposedly features Burger King's flame-grilled taste. But the only way their dogs can get this is by ordering through the restaurant's DoorDash food delivery service.
Okay, first off, the dogs in those pictures just did not look thrilled about that. That's kind of my face when I walk into Burger King, but I mean, would you buy this for your dog? What if somebody comes over and they see your dog chewing on a dog purr bone?
You know, I don't know what's in them. I mean, obviously more is going to be released on like the nutrients, but you know, I'm going to stick with like just regular dog food and, you know, give them a treat once in a while that's like from the dog food. So I'm going to play it safe with
I'd
that.
give the BK Lounge a shot. I don't know.
BK Lounge?
But that's okay. Yeah, a little fancier.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you this morning. Make sure to tune in next week for our hour-long holiday special.
That's right. Our other Juice and Java hosts, Noah Eagle and Rebecca Castor, will be hosting the special. But don't worry, you get to hear from me and Morgan as well.
Our team is really excited to present this special to all of you before we finish off for the semester. For now, I'm Morgan Trau.
And I'm Zach Allen. Have a great weekend, Syracuse.